Live?
Sure.
We are on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the 8th annual Camp for a Common Cause. Of course, it is the first virtual camp. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so grateful that you're camping out in solidarity with our neighbors experiencing homelessness and joining us for this live stream. We're excited to experiment with this technology so that we can all be together, even though we can't really all be together tonight. So I do want to highlight one of the pieces of technology that we're using tonight is the YouTube live stream. And if you're using that platform, there's a chat function there that we'll ask you to use throughout the night as a way to connect and ask questions. This is an interactive virtual camp. So the first piece up there is to weigh in. Let us know where you're viewing from tonight. Whether it is Dummerston or Duluth, Georgia, if you're camping, let us know where you're camping, how you're camping. Are you in a tent? Are you in a camper? Are you in your own bed? So use that chat function. Go ahead and plug it in there. We're monitoring that. As a model, I'm coming to you live from my front porch on Moreland Avenue in Brattleboro. I have my sleeping bag on this old couch that we have out here, much to my wife's chagrin. And I'm doing some camping on the couch out here. You know, this event is designed to coincide with the closing of the seasonal overflow shelter. In a typical year, we close the shelter in late April or early May, and actually it was scheduled to close this coming Monday. And when it does close, again in a typical year, we literally hand out tents to people. And so we wanted to start this event to raise awareness about that fact that there are multiple people in our community that literally have no other place to go besides camping out. And most of the time that camping out is illegal. So we started this event as a joint fundraiser between Morningside Shelter and the Brattleboro Area Drop-In Center, hence the Camp for a Common Cause. But those two organizations have now merged to become Groundworks Collaborative. And so with that, I welcome you here tonight. And let's see, has anybody weighed in yet? My sister, yes, in Duluth, Georgia. Thanks for joining. I'm gonna keep checking that live stream. But for tonight's stream, we're gonna be joined by a few different campers. We're gonna go to some board members and staff members who are gonna share their experience of being part of Groundworks. We're also get to check out their setups. I want to remind everybody that your setup, it's not a competition. We're all in this together. This is a solidarity event, but we want to see what you are up to and how you interpret this virtual camp at home. We're also going to be joined by Steve West here in just a few minutes. He's going to play some songs for us. And I have the pleasure of doing an interview with Ryan Kendrick, a Q&A about the work that we do at Groundworks. So if you have any questions about the work that we do, go ahead and put them on that YouTube live stream. We're going to collect those, and later on, we're going to get to that. So we get to move now to our first on-location interview, and I'm going to be joined by Ann Fielder, who is the board president. She's an incredible support to me, not to mention that our backyards basically back up to one another. So Ann, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, Ann.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing okay. It's lovely to see you.
If you yell loud enough, I'm sure I could hear you from my bedroom window. And I'm lucky enough to be camping out in a warm bedroom, which really brings home to me how lucky and fortunate and grateful I am to have a warm place to sleep. And it's one of the reasons that I feel so committed to this organization. To think that usually on May 1st, around May, we set people off with a tent and they camp illegally in our town is just so heartbreaking to me. So it's just one of the many reasons I'm so committed to this incredible organization.
Your commitment is unparalleled. You've been involved with the board for a number of years, and now as board president, you're really helping to guide us through this capital campaign. Of course, the project is kicking off on Monday. We're really excited to finally be at this juncture. Before we say goodbye, is there anything else that you want folks to know about the work that we do?
I want them, first of all, to know that the board stands behind this organization 150%. We have an incredible board who are very involved with working for this organization. And the other thing is the staff is incredible,
Woohoo!
incredible. And they inspire me every day.
Thank you so much, Anne. Thanks for joining us tonight. Your campsite looks really comfy. I know you probably won't have any problem sleeping tonight, so it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
And I think next, we are going to premiere a video. Pete Case, a former board member, has collected videos from staff members and compiled them together so that we can put out a message. And this is the world premiere of it. So if you're streaming this, consider yourself extremely fortunate to be able to see this so early.
Hi, I'm Rihanna Kendrick, Director of Operations for Groundworks Collaborative, and I'm excited to be sharing that as of today, we've effectively stopped homelessness in its tracks without a single person experiencing literal homelessness in our community.
Everyone on our radar is sheltered, whether at Groundworks Shelter or in local motels.
What's incredible is that it's all happened in the last 6 weeks.
We worked closely with state partners to make this happen.
To help flatten the curve.
Hi everyone, my name is Christine and I'm the Foodworks Coordinator at Groundworks Collaborative. Due to COVID-19, we are seeing twice as many people in need of food in our community.
Today we delivered 2 weeks worth of food to 90 different households across Windham County.
We're able to do this because we purchase food in bulk from the Vermont Food Bank.
We're committed to meeting the increased demand of emergency food and shelter caused by COVID-19.
For every $25 donated, we can feed a family of 5 for 2 weeks.
I'm Josh Davis, Executive Director of Groundworks Collaborative. We need your support now more than ever, and know that we leverage every dollar to feed as many people as possible in our community.
Hi, my name is Ann Fielder. I'm the president of the board of Groundworks Collaborative, and our staff is incredible.
At Groundworks, we meet basic needs with dignity.
Please donate today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support.
To learn more and make a donation, visit groundworksvt.org.
Wonderful. It's pretty great, and just underscores the role that Groundworks plays in the community and how thankful we are for everybody's support and helping us do the work each and every day. I want to run back to the live stream. Folks are chiming in. Thank you so much for that. We have Cindy Delgado and rainy South Brattleboro. We have Biz camping in the camper. We have Semi, who are participating from Putney, and the Morris Ravens. Lee Sparrow is calling in from Westminster West. Terry Kaufman, Castro Valley, California. Her daughter's in Brookline and is in camping in the backyard. Scott Cooper saying thank you. John Hoover participating in Putney. Thanks so much. If you haven't put in where you are camping tonight, go ahead and use that chat function. Also, don't hesitate to put questions in there as well. Right, now it is my pleasure to introduce Steve West. Steve, are you there?
As far as I know.
I can hear you. I can't see you on my screen, but I'm just going to assume. There you go.
Right, yeah. Right, I dozed off. Sorry.
Hey, buddy. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. Thank you for asking me to play songs. I got to thinking about kind of what I had that was appropriate for this moment. And for those who don't know, I was a board member when we merged and became Groundworks. And
I was going to say, pivotal moment in the organization's history. You were right there.
Yeah, it was building the plane as we were flying it. And it's still aloft, it would seem, and ever the better.
Well, some things never change, Steve.
I know. But yeah, I mean, I got to thinking about what I might contribute to this, and I realized, good God, I have a bazillion songs that fit this moment, so I had to limit it to just a few, because there's so much going on in this white hot moment, and kind of always, and now amplified by what we're going through with the pandemic. But the things that come to me in these moments it's cheesy and it's corny, I know, and it's a cliche because it's true, but community is everything. It is the lifeblood of where we live. we're really deeply fortunate to live in a place where it's not just play acting or like, virtue signaling. It's people really step up anonymously, as we well know, people who don't want their name out there, but contribute and do many great things, both from the financial side to acts and good works. So I think the community-ness, so to speak, of where we live is why I've been here 22 years now, and it's the longest I've lived anywhere, and I've been drifting my whole life till I got home. So the first song I wanted to do, I wrote for my friend Cynthia Painmeyer, who many of you may know from Putney, who had a tragic accident and broke her neck and was rendered quadriplegic. And what a brave and amazing woman. And anybody, I could go on about that for an hour, but I won't. But we did a fundraiser for her, and I wrote this song for her just to sort of say, any life is good life, but yeah, it's hard to be a human being sometimes. And everything that Groundworks is working towards recognizes that for everybody, whether you've got a comfortable home and a lot of money or nothing at all to your name, it's freaking hard. It's hard to be a human being. And for Cynthia, it was super hard in many ways, but she was a champion and an utter inspiration. So I wrote this song. It's called It Takes a Lot to Do Life. It's for Cynthia. It takes a lot to be human sometimes. It takes a lot to do life. You set the scene and the trouble in between. It takes a lot to do life. Light the light when there isn't any sunshine, and fight the fight if you must. It takes a lot to be human, and sometimes it takes a lot to do life. And oh, we got nothing but time. We get nothing but time, my dear. It takes a lot to be human sometimes. It takes a lot to do life. Broken and brave from the cradle to the grave. It takes a lot to do life. And oh, we got nothing but time. We get nothing but time, my dear. Anyway, I don't know, maybe it's me, but I keep wondering why. With all of the ways to make living so easy, it's still damn hard to do life. And it takes a lot to do life. It takes a whole lot to do life. That's that.
That's great, Steve. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Poignant song. I'm also impressed that your earbuds stayed in when you were getting into it.
Super glue. Try it.
It's so great. And we're lucky that we get to come back to you a couple more times over the course of the broadcast.
Happy to do it.
All right, hang tight. We'll be back. I'm going to check back in on the live free feed. So we got some questions. How can people donate? Thanks for asking. You can donate. There's a link right on the live feed in those comments. Kathleen White, good to hear from you. Camping out in the backyard in Brattleboro. And I think where I am in Brattleboro, the rain is starting to taper off. We have a drive-by in the live feed. There's Pete Case. We just played his video. So I will try to concentrate on what's going on right here. And I'm happy that I get to be joined by Laura Chapman now, who's our shelter admin coordinator and supply guru. Hey, Laura.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you. It's a little chilly out here.
It is chilly. I've had to put on a jacket.
Yeah, I'm feeling super grateful that our people are sheltered and not going out into the cold on Monday. This kind of weather.
Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit in your own words why the work that we do in this organization is so important?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, environment and people, that's the most important thing in life. And so I feel like by stewarding one, you're automatically stewarding the other in some ways. And we do that at Groundworks so well.
I absolutely agree. Over the last couple of weeks with COVID and what's going on with that, how has your work changed?
It would be easier to tell you how it hasn't changed. So, we're still taking care of people. We're still making sure that their basic needs are met with dignity, and in some ways, in so many ways, in a larger way. So
Well said.
that's what stayed consistent through everything.
And then, of course, you have done such an amazing job making sure that all of our programs are well supplied. Are there any needs to highlight while we have folks? How can people be supportive at this time?
So to be really frank, the best way that they could be supportive is to donate cash if they're able to, because for us to acquire supplies right now is a much more streamlined approach than trying to take in donations. Donations are difficult. The other way that they can be supportive is through providing meals if they have the capacity to do that. And they can always reach out to me for that. And to continue putting out the good word for our work and what we do, the people that we support.
Much agreed. Thank you, Laura. Can you show us your setup a little bit?
Well, I'm kind of cheating. I'm out by the campfire. So we plan on sleeping inside tonight. I will admit that I'm not going to camp out tonight, but it really highlights the need for what we're doing and the importance of what we do. Nobody should have to sleep outside, especially in weather like this.
Absolutely. Thank you, Laura. Thanks for joining me.
Happy to. Thank you.
So let's check back in one more time with the feed. Still rolling in. Keep those questions coming. And, you know, as Laura was saying, and just what I want to underscore is the fact that homelessness has been interrupted throughout Vermont. And recently put out a commentary, and I'd just like to highlight a couple things that was in there. The most important being that there's not a single person that we're aware of in the greater Brattleboro area right now that does not have shelter. And it's an incredible achievement that we need to pause and recognize what has been accomplished. And even more so than that, it's been accomplished within the last 30 days in the face of some pretty daunting circumstances. As we saw COVID advance, you know, we worked really closely with our state partners to get everybody who is without housing, or if they were in a precarious housing situation, like sleeping on the couch on a front porch, being able to access local motel rooms. And we've talked about this for years, that Groundworks envisions a community. We work towards a vision that everybody in our community has our basic needs met. And we lifted our heads up one day in the midst of doing this crazy work and said, oh my gosh, this thing that we've talked about for years and in this brief moment has become a reality. And what we want to underscore is that this does not have to be an anomaly. This doesn't have to stop when life goes back to normal. In fact, I'm not sure if we want life in all of its ways to go back to normal. We've shown, as we've talked about, but we've been able to demonstrate recently that we have the ability to house everybody in our community. We've said for a long time that it's so cliche now, you might be tired of hearing this, that it's not rocket science. Solving homelessness is not a complex enigma. We know how to do it. We have a proven formula, and that formula is ample housing stock. It's having the subsidies to support people's rents, and it's having supportive services from agencies like Groundworks Collaborative to help support people in housing. What has been lacking, though, is the will and the commitment to bring the resources that we need to make, to help us move from a position of mitigating homelessness to ending it. And so as we reflect where we are now, as we reflect on the fact that we are grateful that we're not passing out tents today, We want to charge that we never go back to having to pass out tents again, but for the lack of funding for shelter. And so as we've been busy successfully flattening the curve here in Vermont, we're starting to move toward what recovery looks like in the long term. We're starting to move towards what reopening looks like. And we find ourselves at a juncture where we can get this right or wrong, dignity for all or inequity for many. So I just want to highlight that we've seen the light in this dark time, and I hope we don't return back to that normal where we have to open up our shelters in the spring and pass out tents. And now is the time to make permanent keeping everybody in shelter. One of the things that COVID has highlighted is that our entire community is vulnerable if any of its parts are vulnerable. And this was true before COVID, and it will be true after. We're highlighting that right now. And so as we rebuild and we reopen, let us act upon the lessons that this unprecedented time has taught us. To take care of each of us is the best way to take care of all of us. So it's not a question of how, it's a question of can we do it and is there the will? So we're calling on you to help us with this. Spread the message that what is happening right now does not have to be an anomaly. Tell your legislators. I think we're going to post a link that makes it really easy for you to click and see who your legislator is. Send them a little note. Tell them that we're not happy with the status quo. We want to keep everybody in shelter. Spread the word to friends and family that this doesn't have to be an anomaly. Thank you so much for supporting us. And so with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to Libby, who's going to tell us about all the sponsors that are helping us support this event tonight. Libby?
Thank you, Josh. I just wanted to send a really big thank you to all of our sponsors because, we started requesting sponsorships back in January, February, long before COVID came to our community. And these sponsors have stuck with us even through hard times of their own. They're, we're really thankful for all the folks who are supporting us tonight. So I want to thank Silver Forest and Abatum Exterminating. They are always there for us. And how great is their logo?
How great is their logo?
Berkeley and Veller Greenwood Country Realtors. The Brattleboro Food Co-op, always very generous.
Indeed.
Trust Company of Vermont, again, they are always there for us and we are so appreciative of them. HCRS, relatively new to us and really helpful. Savings Bank of Walpole, same, they're always sponsoring empty bowls. Brown and Roberts is very regularly a sponsor of our events and we're really very appreciative. And I have to say, Doug Richmond at Richmond Auto Repair sponsors every single one of our events every single time. And just thank you, Doug.
Thank you. Thank you, Libby. And where are you coming to us from tonight?
Oh, thanks for asking. I am in a side of a tent, and right now that tent is set up in my living room. I could not disappoint my little girl who really wanted to sleep in the tent tonight. So we're going to be in here and we're going to move our tent out to the deck tomorrow night for a slightly drier situation.
Fantastic. Thank you. I think we're going to check back in with you in just a few minutes.
Yeah, I'll see you in a while.
Okay. And of course, thank you to all of our sponsors. We literally could not do this work without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Next piece, I keep going back to the live feed and it's heartening to see the messages on there. Keep them coming, keep the questions coming. We're building toward an interview with Rihanna and I'm looking forward to that. Steve is about to play another song, but before we get to that, Groundworks is food, shelter, and supportive services. And so I'm very pleased to be joined by Christine tonight, who's our FoodWorks coordinator and keeps FoodWorks humming along. Christine, are you there?
Yes.
Hi. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm comfortably camping in my living room as well.
I think that's the MO for tonight. So the question, why is your work so important?
We live in a really unequal society where people who are rich seem to continue to get rich, and then the most vulnerable people in our community are continuously pushed back to the bottom. Groundworks does incredibly important work every day, changing people's lives for the better and saving lives. And, you know, they treat people with dignity and really pushing back against the stigma associated with poverty and food insecurity. And I feel really grateful to be part of that.
Well said, Christine. I think it's really interesting to point out and underscore just all that's gone on in the last few weeks as COVID started to make our way into the community. Can you give us a little bit of insight on what's changed in your work from the day-to-day?
So we have moved entirely to a delivery only model, making 20 to 50 deliveries of food every day to people in the community, as well as to everyone staying in hotels and the shelters as well. I think we've made over 3,000 deliveries. And that includes 3 times a week to all the hotels, as well as through the school system on the buses too.
And so I just want to underscore, like, you flipped the entire business model and you did that basically over the course of a weekend.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I say you, but also just underscoring you are one of a number of staff at FoodWorks and a number of staff within Groundworks organization who is just showing up every day with such dedication. I feel thankful to be able to work with you and everybody else at Groundworks. Is there anything that you want to, in terms of needs, that you want to highlight, how folks can be supportive?
We have an amazing group of volunteers who are delivering all the food. We can use a few more volunteers. We purchase most of our food from the food bank, so the best way to support the food shelf is really to donate in cash, so we can use that to buy food in bulk and at reduced cost from the food bank.
And if somebody wants to volunteer, what's the best way to get connected to you?
You can email volunteer@groundworksvt.org.
Fantastic. Christine, anything else you want to show us with your setup before we move on?
No, this is it.
That's it. It looks great. Well, thanks so much for joining us. And let's see, I think, Steve, we're back to you.
Hang on.
Right after, Steve, right after you play, I get to sit down and ask Ryan some questions.
Huh?
So I just want to remind people to get those questions in if they have any. But before that, we get to hear another song from you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I was just, well, there's a million things to say, but that's the way I go. You know, I just start yammering on about things. But I made a record a couple of years ago, and I was just sitting here thinking, well, good Lord, I got boxes of them. Nobody wants them. So I thought I would give some of these away. So this is on Bandcamp. If you look for Stephen P. West on Bandcamp, anything that you guys buy in the next, say, 24 hours, I'm giving it all to Groundworks. You know, honestly, I got boxes of them. That's a download, and then you can buy a CD if you want. But you know, everything we can do to get every penny going in that direction, for sure. I agree with Josh, and I want to underscore, hey, it's no coincidence we're doing this on International Labor Day. This is a time to be discussing what's fair. This is a time to be discussing what it takes to be alive in this world. We're talking about people getting stimulus funding and so forth, and X amount of money is what you need to stay alive, etc. This is a conversation worth having. This is a time to be having this conversation. And Josh, I know you and I share the same philosophy about a lot of it, but in addition to being kind and supporting people, it's also not unreasonable to lean in and say, hey, this is not okay. And on Labor Day, May the 1st, as it's seen in most of the world, it's not okay to be treating people the way we do or paying them what we do. So it's always nice to be nice, but it's also good to push on issues like that, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more, Steve. And thanks for underscoring. I went right over that at the beginning, that it is May Day, International Worker Day. And especially as we're underscoring the role that essential workers play, like staff at Groundworks, I'm going to keep hammering on what incredible staff we have who have showed up through this whole COVID crisis, putting themselves and their family at risk to be there for others in our community. It's just fantastic. And it's a great day to have this conversation and to highlight the work that they've done.
Right on. Right on. So I thought I would do this song off it's the title cut off of this record. And like I said, it's on Bandcamp, Stephen P. West, just search for it. If you want to buy it, I'm not kidding. It all goes to Groundwork. So that's another way you want to donate. You get a record out of the deal and you might like it. I don't know.
My kids love it.
Oh, that's nice. I love your kids. So this is a song called "Holding On," and it's, as the title suggests, we're all holding on. Sometimes by the skin of our teeth, and sometimes it's with the help of others. But holding on through whatever is your challenge. We've all got them, metaphoric and actual. So this is a song about that. So. Hey now, oh now, I'm on my way now. Hey now, holding on. Angels, hear me, I'm worn and weary. Angels, holding on. I've known good times, I've known some bad times, still here holding on. Hey now, oh now, I'm on my way now. Hey now, holding on. It's the little things that go. It's the little words that speak to you. It's the many times you said, ooh. It's the many ways you love. Hey now, oh now, I'm on my way now. Hey now, holding on. Angels, hear me say most sincerely, I'll be holding on. Hey now, oh now, I'm on my way now. Hey now, holding on. It's the little things that go. It's the little words that speak to you. It's the many times you said, ooh, ooh. It's in every way you love. Hey now, oh now, you're on your way now. Hey now, holding on. Hey now, oh now, you're on your way now. Hey now, holding on. Hey now, oh now, we're on our way now. Hey now, holding on, holding on, holding on, holding on, holding on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can see why my kids love it. That's a great song, Steve.
That's a nice thing to say, buddy. I like writing songs.
Well, you're great. Your melodies are great. Your hooks are just addictive. And the song is on the album that folks can get on Bandcamp.
Yeah, just go ahead, because I mean they're just collecting dust at my house. So like I'm never gonna get rich from them. So let's give it to Groundworks. So buy a bunch of these and give them to your friends. Use them as
Awesome.
coasters. I don't care. Just do something.
And you're gonna have one more for us?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So a couple more minutes and then we'll come back and check in with you, Steve.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, man. So going back to the chat, we've got some good stuff on here. Biz is letting everybody know that you can watch it on the big screen. She even sent me a text that showed what it looks like in her house. And I was telling her, I feel like I have arrived, that I'm on her big screen in her living room. Also, Scott, I will not be tap dancing tonight. I appreciate the ask, but thank you for highlighting the letter that's in the comments this week. I haven't seen that one yet. I will check it out. Dave has joined us. It's good to see Dave on here. And also Cindy just asked a question that we're going to get to right now, as I'm joined by Rihanna Kendrick, Director of Operations at Groundworks. Are you there, Rihanna?
I am.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
It's good to see you.
You too.
So I have the pleasure of working with you every day, and I know how awesome you are and what you do, but can you give folks just a small glimpse of what your day entails? Not everything, because we only have a little bit of time, but just give an insight of your world.
Sure. God, you went for the hard one right away.
Right away, right?
Right away. Yeah, diving in. Every day looks really different. I have the pleasure of working with all of our programs and all of our staff. And I often joke that my office is in my car. And so it's hard to track me down unless you have my cell phone number. And I float between the day. You know, this morning we were helping someone pack up their campsite and move out of the woods. And then we were working on some issues in one of our motel programs, and then connecting with folks over at Groundworks Shelter and making sure their needs were met, and then trying to respond to 8,000 emails and everything in between. So it's a little bit of everything. Not that I would like it any other way.
It's amazing. Thank you for that. And so we have just a couple questions. Right now, I think getting an idea, and like how many people right now are in motels. We've been talking about that, but how many people are in motels right now that we're supporting?
Sure. So in the Brattleboro area, we've got about 125 people that are in motel rooms spread across a few different sites where we're staffing to meet people's needs. And that's a mix of folks from the greater Brattleboro area. And we're also housing folks out of the Springfield district where they don't have the capacity and number of motel rooms. And so some new and additional challenges to make sure that people's needs are met that haven't traditionally been in the Brattleboro area and might not be connected to services that can help ensure they have their most basic needs met.
And so with those most basic needs, the motel, supply, shelter, what does it look like to support folks with food right now?
Yeah, so it looks like a lot of different things. In one of our motel sites, we're serving 3 meals a day where we have kind of the bulk of folks. FoodWorks, Christine, Ava, and Jennifer, and volunteers are delivering food to area motels 3 days a week. We have meal teams that are still making food and delivering that to the shelter, and kind of everything in between, a mix of probably too much pizza and a lot of gift cards, and trying to continue to make sure that we have some semblance of healthy meals at the same time.
And, you know, I've touched on this, but we're starting to talk about, you know, the plateau and opening things back up. What does this look like moving forward? You know, you said 125 people in motels here. There's another, you know, over almost 1,700 people throughout the state. What does that look like over the next few weeks?
Yeah, it was exciting to be on a state call yesterday and hear that motels are going to continue to be extended. And although we don't have a specific date in mind, we know that it means that in 2 weeks, folks are not going to be kind of back out without a plan in place. And so it's a combination of keeping folks in motels and trying to put plans in place as fast as we can, and working with both the kind of the captive audience of having folks directly connected to us, and at a time where typically folks would be out camping and a little harder to connect to, and also kind of capitalizing on the political will to have people indoors and to look at what some of those solutions could be.
So we may have some solutions around the corner.
I mean, it's a combination. It's an interesting balance to be working as a community to try to develop what does it look like to keep folks in motel rooms, and then to be working with our state partners to say what does that look like, and trying to do both of those things simultaneously, and recognizing that, you know, we're one district, we're one community in Vermont trying to do that work, and everyone else is at the same time.
I know it feels so big and so small at the same time. Let's see, other questions. Here's a great question. Have any of our clients been sick with COVID-19?
They have not, which feels pretty incredible. I think that was the scariest piece of this, is recognizing, you know, the folks that we work with often have more vulnerabilities collectively as a group than many folks. And so it was really scary to think about what it would mean if folks began getting sick. And although there are some good plans in place, the reality of that meant that for some folks, they might have to transfer to Burlington, really far away from us. And for a lot of folks, you know, we are their natural support system. And so I am super grateful to Bradford Memorial Hospital for offering mobile testing. And we have done a fairly small amount of mobile testing, I would say, and each of those tests have come back negative in all the sites where we've been.
That's fantastic. And of course, at the same time that all of this is going on, and we've upended our shelter programs as well as FoodWorks program, our project that we have been talking about for years starts next week. And I think that is a good pivot to Cindy's question, which is, what is the timeline for the new shelter to be open? And then let me just add what's on here. Will the shelter have lockers or storage so folks can go out in the community and have their items stored securely?
Yes to lockers, absolutely. The first thing we built without the building was the lockers, for sure, and basement space for extra long-term storage. So that is one of, in addition to the multiple bathrooms, it's one of the most exciting things to me, for sure.
Right.
In terms of timeline, I think, you know, we're still working on what that looks like with delays in construction and what the uncertainties of the next 12, 15, 18 months look like due to COVID.
Absolutely. But we start in the ground next week, so we're at least getting going. Is there anything that you wish I would have asked you?
I don't think so. I think Craig was asking me questions at the same time. I was trying to read them and talk. Thanks, Craig. How can we best support you in daily operations? And I think, to Craig's question, it's the things that folks are doing. So the ability to support as a meal team, the ability to give cash donations so that we can buy supplies. You know, the donations and things that we typically would solicit from the community are, as Laura said, so much more challenging. And at the same time, we are still continuing to house people. And so moving folks into apartments, we don't have the same capacity to gather donations from the community. And so things like cash donations make it accessible for us to purchase much needed items to get folks started with.
Absolutely. Dave Altstead chimed in. Here's a great question for you. Given the likelihood for future outbreaks of COVID, how is Groundworks, how are we thinking of physical distancing for the new seasonal shelter when it opens?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think we're kind of in the midst of talking about that and talking about what it looks like, and recognizing that, you know, I think related to the ongoing conversations we have about housing, we need a continuum of housing options. And so I think our shelter provides one of those options, and an opportunity, even in a congregate space, for there to be some distancing. And we still need a lot of other options to be able to house people through shelter and permanent supportive housing at the same time.
Agreed. I think that's brought us to the end of the questions. Can we see your setup?
Oh, I'm hanging out in my backyard.
You're in your backyard?
In my camper. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, this is the most privileged camping experience possible. Not only to be on land that I own, in a camper that I own, it is not. It's certainly not unnoticed, and especially as I was helping someone take down a tent this morning, and just recognizing the impact of what it means to actually camp outdoors in this weather and how wet and cold and sick it makes people.
Right. I know it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal that everybody's inside right now. And it's phenomenal that in years past, in a different sense of the word phenomenal, that we literally hand out tents and people camp out when we have a perfectly good structure that people could continue to sleep in, but for the financial resources for us to keep it open. Well said. Thanks, Rihanna.
Thanks,
I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. I think we're going to cut over to Ma and Pa. Sarah Ryan, board member, is on the call with us. The live stream. Sarah, are you there? While Sarah's chiming in, I just want to underscore that I think it's pretty great that I get to hang out with all these wonderful people and talk about the work that we do. I'm super proud to be a part of this organization, and it brings me so much joy to connect around the work that we do. It brings me so much joy to see people chiming in. I love some of my favorite people in the world are chiming in with great comments, great questions. Thank you for joining us. I'm gonna keep stretching to see if we can get Sarah. Sarah, are you here?
I think I'm here.
There you are. I can hear you now.
I thought I was here.
My screen's a little funky, so thanks for hanging in there with me.
No worries.
So from your perspective, can you add why, what Groundworks means to you and why you joined this board?
I get Groundworks, it's just amazing. I think what I'd heard about it over the years and what you provide for the community, for the people who, housing and food are essential. Having been an educator, kids need to have those securities under their belt, and everybody does. So I kind of got involved in that way. And I have to say, I am just blown away by the staff and the organization. I was blown away before. And since this whole COVID thing, it's just like, so impressed with how people have turned, on a dime to take care of everybody. It's just mind blowing to me. It really is. It's so impressive, and I'm so proud to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
And everybody gives at different points. There are people who can do lots financially, and there are people who can do behind the scenes. So that's something I like to push for other people, that there are so many ways to be involved in this organization that help the people who need it.
Absolutely. Some people can join the finance committee.
And find the pennies all here and there that are miscellaneous, but it works.
It absolutely works. But I also want to say you are on Empty Bowls organizing committee, and we're just starting conversations about what does that mean and what does that look like. And I know we don't have any answers at this point, but I just want to give you a moment to talk about that.
We had just started, it had just started coming into this is about the time we'd be getting started to have our meetings and organizing. And there are so many questions out there right now. One, are we going to be allowed to meet in big groups? And that is a big group thing. Two, all our donors who donate all our food, our soup and all that, are they going to still be able to do all that? There are just so many questions that we are having to look at. And so maybe there's some way we will be able to do, I don't know, a virtual. Our camp is going really well tonight. So, maybe we need to find something. So if anybody who's listening has any suggestions, please, we're brainstorming right now.
So if people want to volunteer and help, like you were saying.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, if people want to volunteer and help, like you said, they can reach out to us and we can get them connected to you.
Yep.
I assume that you're always looking for volunteers for that event.
We're always looking for volunteers. There takes a lot of people to pull off this event. And it does so much for the food works. I am just so impressed with what it adds to that and to all of it, what they're doing over there as well.
And I just want to underscore, we might have some people, I don't want to assume that everybody knows what Empty Bowls is. And so do you just want to give in what it was in years past, maybe not what it looks like moving forward? You want to just give a quick snapshot?
Sure. I mean, I think it's been going on for 17 years. I'm not certain. I didn't go to the beginning ones, but it's about 17 years. And potters, I believe, are the ones who sort of got it organized and I don't have all the details, but it was a way to raise money for the people who needed some extra help in the community. And potters donate the bowls and all of that. And then people would come buy a ticket and you get to choose a bowl at the event. And then there are local restaurants who would donate soups. You fill your bowl you get to pick out a soup, and there are various food vendors who provide apples, crackers, bread, butter, milk, just a variety of things.
Yeah.
Cheese, lots of cheese.
Lots of cheese.
Amazing. Breads. And so the volunteers come in and we've had it up at Landmark College for the years that I've been going, which has been wonderful. And the staff up there, and the tables all get set and organized, and our team turns it over. There are two seatings, usually a 5:30 and a 7:30, 5:30 and 7.
I always get confused about that too.
I guess. And it's amazing. It's such a wonderful sense of community for the people who come. There's a musician who plays, and people they love to come. They love to support the organization. It's just a feel good, have fun evening.
It's a wonderful event. It's
Yeah.
not to take anything away from the camp. It's an equally good event, the camp, but the empty bowls is fantastic. Literally hundreds of bowls. We have amazing potters in this area.
Oh, there's like over 1,000 bowls that we get every year.
It's crazy. So we got to figure out something. We'll get creative, and
We will be creative. It will happen one way or the other. We just don't know how yet.
That's right.
Everything's unfolding right now.
That's the perfect attitude. Sarah, thank you. I really appreciate you joining.
Well, thank you.
And you're camping in your living room next to the wood stove?
I am in my living room next to a stove. Not too fancy. But in past years, I've got to use I don't have a tent, so I've used the tents that we used to give out to the clients. Then that's how I would tent.
So hopefully we get everybody into housing, and we have leftover tents, and we'll get you a tent.
So there you go. There you go. I'd rather take one and have them in housing.
That's right. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Josh.
So let's see. I think we are cutting back to Libby. Libby, you want to give us an update? Hey.
Hi. I wanted to take an opportunity. We are going to roll some photos people have sent in of their campsites tonight. We have about 50 or more people camping out around town tonight. And I'm just kind of blown away at how people are sticking it out in the rain and being amazing per usual.
I saw Hunter.
This might be our best turnout yet. We've got about 50 or more people that we know of who are camping out tonight. People who registered, people who haven't registered. And together we've raised over $17,500 and counting. We had a $20,000 goal, so we're not there yet, but we're definitely getting close. There's Beth Kendall, our board member by the woodpile. Some of these are Josh's family in Georgia.
Georgia, represent.
So exciting. So this is really fun. There's Abdieli and family. They're all down on Blakely Street. This is really, Scott Cooper had his tent set up in the Brooks House lobby earlier. He's moved over to the Center Congregational Church outdoors in the rain. Thank you, Scott. And I just want to reiterate, I don't think there's thunder and lightning in the forecast anymore, but I hope nobody will stay out just to prove a point tonight. But we're almost to our goal, and I just wanted to suggest one tool that I think we could use, and that is a sort of text to donate feature, a really low tech kind of situation where maybe perhaps each of us could send a little text tonight to our friends and family, and saying we're camping out tonight and we're raising funds to support Groundworks work to end homelessness in our community. would you make a donation to help reach our goal? And you can send them the link to your page or the link to our page overall. We'd love to see us hit our goal tonight. Would be really exciting. And so even if you're not a camper, you can help us spread the word, visit our page and make a donation to support. We have a lot of staff out there who are camping tonight, and it would warm their heart to have some donations come in on their page. So we're really so appreciative of all you do. And I just want to say thank you so much for being part of this. And this has been really fun for me to be part of. So you're doing a great job, Josh.
Thank you so much, Livy. It's kind of fun. I think we need to live stream every week.
I know. I love it. It's so great.
Right?
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much, Livy. And I think I have the pleasure now of talking with John Hoover.
Hey.
John, are you still hanging in there? Hey, buddy.
I'm hanging in there. What's going on?
Are you in your car?
Yeah, and I'm actually in my wife's car. This is supposed to be last, but you can see I got my bag and my pillow, and fortunately the mosquitoes are mild at this time of year. And I do want to give a shout out to my neighbors on Warden Road, wherein we have at least 3 households in this little road in Putney participating. So you know who you are. Thank you, neighbors. And yeah.
That's fantastic. And, I'll ask a question that I've asked other staff members, like through your lens, why is your work and the work that we do so important? And I just want to underscore, I think I glossed over it, but you're business manager. You help to keep the administrative function of the organization running smoothly. And you don't have to limit your comments just to that, but in general, because you're so much more than that.
Well, thank you, Josh. Yeah, I mean, in general, it's like a lot of my colleagues and the board members said is, we're one of the bottom line safety nets in our community. And when other situations people have been in aren't working out, we've got a place for you. And, we want people to stay with us as long as they need us, and we want people to move on as soon as there's a good opportunity for them. And yeah, I just can't underline the responsibility I feel and we all feel around making sure as many people as possible can access our services and be caught in that safety net. And yeah, it's a privilege to really be part of this community and helping this community in that way.
It's such a good point. As all this was going down with COVID, and, we had 33, 34 people in the overflow shelter. Those numbers now we're supporting over 100 people in the community through shelter. Christine was talking about the number of people that we're supporting with food has doubled. Our response was not, whoa, we can only help 30 people at a time. Our response was, how do we make this work for the numbers that we're seeing?
Absolutely.
So I think that that's a fantastic point.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about like what people are supporting, that ability for our staff to scale up, and both in our food services and our shelter services, quadruple nearly how many people they're serving. I mean, I'll say I think a lot of our staff could make a lot more money in private business. They really take a sacrifice to do this mission work, and we got to pay them. I got bills to make, and that's one of the things that supports is really highly skilled, agile, resourceful staff who can basically quadruple our shelter system in a matter of a few days to a week. So yeah, kudos to them. And it's a real, I really value getting to be in that support role to make them, to help them do the awesome work they're doing with our clients.
And you're phenomenal, and your team is phenomenal in the support roles that they play. So anything else that you want to add to the conversation?
Yeah, I think when we talk about how people can contribute, one of the things I look at and we've looked at around this COVID response is the amount of in-kind volunteering we're getting, especially in the food, also in the shelter, but especially in the food, both to people in our community and food to our shelters, that when we really think about it, if we had to pay for all the volunteering that we would be getting around our food delivery system right now, it would be tens of thousands of dollars a month easily, if not pushing, maybe not quite 100, but getting up there. It's just an incredible mobilization of community volunteers to deliver, prepare, pack, sort food, and all that. So that is, if you want to support us financially, that is outstanding. And if you have some time and you want to support us in that way, it is so valuable. And we're really plugging a gap in our community right now with all this incredible gift of everyone's time.
So well said, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So we're going to cut away. I like your rig. Stay comfy out there tonight.
Will do. Take care. I really have a good night.
And we're going to go back to Steve in just a second. Before we do, I want to say, if you have any last questions, any last posts that you want to put on the YouTube stream, do that now. I'm going to check it while Steve is doing one more. I also want to say, can you see why I love this organization? The people that I get to work with on a daily basis are just supreme human beings doing wonderful work. Our mission is so vital to so many people, and it's just wonderful. And so it's so great to be able to share these conversations and insights from so many different perspectives of this organization. And
yeah, and can I add to that? Also, I mean, I've being a board member and just being somebody who's interested in what goes on in our town. It's been a lot of steady people who've been there a long time. Ryanna's been long, John has been there. There's so many familiar faces, and that institutional memory is not a small thing. Let's also acknowledge, as great as everyone is, it's hard. It's really, really hard work. So anything somebody can do to it's like a barn raising. If you can just lean a little bit more, you don't have to do all the lifting. Throw in what you can. I'm seeing all these comments on the YouTube channel. And people like and Fish saying things like, if you've given, give more, whatever you got. Not everybody's got money to give, but as John said, in-kind donations, showing up, some, just some good intention is sometimes all that matters, and some appreciation, expressing some appreciation to those who really do a lot of the heavy lifting day to day, and they don't get rich that way. We'd love to make them all rich, but that's not what it is. So
rich in spirit.
Indeed. And then we go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're going to play one more for us.
Yeah.
And then we have another board member, Craig, that we're going to check in, and we're winding down towards the end of our camp program for this evening. Yeah. And so what's the song to wrap it up, Steve?
This is a song I haven't ever recorded. I wrote it a long time ago. I frankly wanted somebody with a prettier voice than me to sing it because it's a real pretty song, but so somebody, a female voice would sound better. But I wrote this song kind of about what's happening now. And I'm coming to realize I wrote all these kind of harbinger of doom songs in a way. And not that this is doom, but this is a song that really speaks to why Groundworks does what it does, why any of us who gives a damn do what we do. I mean, again, corny as it is, it's love in every form. It's love, kindness, money donated is love, in all the ways that we do that. And let's also acknowledge it's scary times. It's scary times for a lot of people, and the resource needs are obvious, but also the emotional, psychological needs of people in every shake of life are extra challenged right now, all of us. And so this is a time for all of us to be coming together in every way you can possibly come up with. So this is a song sort of speaks to that. It's called Love Letter because it's sort of my love letter to humanity. So hopefully it's in tune. 12 strings should always be in tune, but we're going to go with it anyway. It goes like this. Of all the things to think of, I'm thinking about love. I'm thinking about all of you. It's true, but I don't know what to do. Don't you? Yeah, these are dangerous days. We've traded away the way we were meant to be. You and me. I know no one is the enemy. I swear death is not a remedy. I see weeping people everywhere. I scream, does anybody hear it? But what can one body do? We do and we do. Somehow we'll just have to know. You know. Of all the things to think of, I'm thinking about love. I'm thinking about all of you. It's true. Lots of love to everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for everything Groundworks does and this entire community. I'm really thrilled to be a member of this community, and I'm never not impressed by how we show up. So thank you.
Lots of love, Steve. Thank you so much.
Back at you, buddy. Back at you.
So I didn't see any last questions on here. And so I did get a couple other texts of folks looking at it on the big screen. So that's kind of fun. And I just want to thank everybody for chiming in. Really, part of the idea of doing this live stream was so that we feel connected. And I definitely feel connected. We're spreading love. So thank you so much for that. We have one more location that we're going to go to. We're going to check in with Craig Hammond. Craig, are you there? I'm literally hearing crickets.
Hi.
There he is. Hey, Craig.
Hey, everybody. So here we go. Can you see anybody? Anything?
Hey, Liz. Liz is with you.
I'm not sleeping out here tonight, but
She's already lonely, she says. So yeah, this is my bed.
Oh, it's fantastic.
This is our what we call our Westie, our old VW Westphalia, 1985. Oh, I don't know if you can see, but up above there is the top bunk, almost big enough for two people. And there's a window up there. Yeah, it's been around a long time, 35 years now. And it's the way I camp now. I'm afraid to say those days of sleeping out up on the Franconia Ridge, not so much.
Not so much anymore.
But this is great.
Well, I love the Westie, and Craig, I know you've been listening in. Is there anything that hasn't been said? You know, you're a board member, but I've also known you for a number of years, and I know you're familiar with the work that we do. Is there anything that we left out that you would like to, in some ways, get the last word?
I've never used this term in my life, but I guess I can use it tonight. I want to give a shout out to the two volunteer cooks who are helping with breakfast and lunch at the motels.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. They lost their work at Vermont Academy, and here they are, you know, and everybody else is helping with the food and with the unbelievable work. And I want to say to Sarah, about empty bowls, and you too, and everybody else that helps. Number one, it's one of the most fun events I participate in all year, right up there with this one. And Groundworks is so creative that, Sarah, don't you worry one bit.
We'll figure
We're
it
going to
out.
come up with an awesome, maybe it'll have to be an alternative. Who knows? I just want everybody to get healthy. That's number one. So there's that. And it's such a pleasure, such a joy to work with you, Josh, and Rihanna, and everybody. Libby all the time, almost daily, it seems. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Craig.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
And it was fun raising money.
Absolutely.
People rallied. Yeah.
So it's good to see you out in the Westie. It's good to see Liz too. Thanks for chiming in.
Absolutely. I'll be here again anytime.
All right. Thank you, Craig.
Yes. Take care, everybody, and good work.
Thank you. So that brings us basically to the end of our program. We got to hear a lot about the work that we do from a number of perspectives, staff members, board members, and we got to be joined by Steve West, connect with each other on the YouTube stream. And I just want to put a plug in. Tomorrow night is One Community Home Together. It's celebrating local heroes, and it's put on by Lee Sparrow and a number of local organizations and churches. So if you enjoyed this, you will definitely enjoy that broadcast tomorrow night. I'm going to tune in. You can visit the Groundworks Facebook page for details. You can watch it on YouTube or BCTV Channel 8. And so as we're signing off, I want to say thank you. I think you're going to be able to see everybody. I'm going to ask everybody to unmute. And as we're waving off, we can have a little cacophony of thank yous.
Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
This is really fun.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Stay safe, everyone.
Yes, please. And good self-care.
Good self-care. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was nice.